I'm getting ready to go to town, I am thinking about blame again, which seems to be my constant stream of thought because it's so ubiquitous. And it comes across as criticism, comparison, or complaining. And it also comes across as it's hidden in the agendas of conversation. I notice this. This is about, I would say, 100% of the time. So I'm really going to keep track of this today because I only go to town once a year or twice a year. I've had to go. Anyway, so in conversation with other people, I notice that the first thing that people talk about is someone else. Whether that comes across as in the form of a pronoun, he, she, it, they, them, people, whatever. If they use whatever their nomenclature, it could be political, it could be religious, it could be sanctifying, whatever the case may be. And I thought to myself, I wonder if how much awareness exists for that individual in their avoidance of discussing themselves. So in the apprehensiveness of both silence and the company of another person, so the uncomfortableness comes from the need to fill the silence. There's the pretend need, and that pretend need comes from the ego's, oh, I have to fill this space with me. And then the second one comes with, and I need to do that by showing this person, whoever this person is, that I am important. And what an effective way to do that. The best effective way to do that is to talk about someone else. So I can say, I would never do that, or I would never be that, or whatnot, whatever the case may be. So I was paying attention to this many lifetimes ago. I've noticed this since I was a child because my parents used to do it, and I would think, but you're doing that. And they would blame other people, or they would make negative comments about other people doing what they were doing, gossiping or whatnot, which that's all gossip is. Gossip is just talking about another person. So if you're talking about another person, it doesn't matter who that other person is, and it doesn't matter how you're saying it, whether or not you're complimenting or criticizing. It's irrelevant because compliments are also criticisms. And I'll get into that in another video. At any rate, so when talking about another person, kind of lost my train of thought there because I forgot my little camera here, my little video, what that thing is called. So to fill the space, which is silence, instead of being comfortable with the silence and just allowing the silence to pervade, the ego insists that it be the center of attention. And in order to do that, it does it through subterfuge. And it takes someone else's life, so it steals someone else's life, and it talks about it as if it knows it, as if it owns it, and it doesn't. So let's say I'm talking about my brother, one of my brothers, and my brother is not me, and so in talking about my brother, I'm taking his life and advertising it without his knowledge and without his consent, without his presence being there. So if you can't say something to someone to their face, then it would be wise not to discuss it at all. And I figured that out many years ago, but I only figured it out because I was doing it. And so I thought, Well, I'm doing that. So that's not good. Not that that's not good. Let me strike that from the record. That's something to be aware of. What am I feeding myself when I do that? I'm feeding myself the poison that theft is all right. And I do that because I'm talking about someone else. I'm stealing someone else's life. And then I'm lying. So I'm a thief and a liar on top of all the other things I need to do to manage this thing. I certainly don't want to be good at stealing. I don't want to be good at thieving. I don't want to be good at lying. Although, and so to be aware of what I was saying and what I was thinking, I had to take what I was observing and apply it to this. One of the easiest ways I would do that is I would write, which I still do to this day, is I write, and I write it as if I'm talking to a person, and then I take every single pronoun or every single reference to that person, and I put my name there. And then I read it out loud to myself, and that's extremely effective. I find that most people are so unaware that the conversations are so heavily blame oriented. And that the conversation seems to just be it's so unaware to the individual speaking that even if it was brought to their attention, which I started doing, I don't have a social life by choice. And so when I'm in the presence of another person, I have been trying to make a point of asking questions rather than just agreeing. Oh, I need to agree with you. Oh, yes, that's true. It's not true. Anyway, in the course of doing that, I have found that it throws the conversation off of the trajectory and back to the subject matter of be aware of what we're talking about here. And is this conversation worth my time? Is this conversation worth your time? I ask myself that a lot. Is this conversation worth my time? Ask me a question worth my time. Because if I say, ask me a question worth your time, you're going to say, well, this is a question worth my time. How are you? That's not worth your time. You're lying to me because you're trying to save face. At any rate, that's what I'm thinking about today as I go throughout my day, is every conversation, as I listen to conversations and I watch people interact, then I say, and I listen to the subject matter, how much of it is actually about that person, and how much of it is about someone else's idea of them, or someone else altogether. A they, a them, a that, an it, a he, a she, a you. It's all blame. Anytime a sentence contains a pronoun other than I, then it's blame. I mean, it's just blame. It's kind of funny. But if you're wondering about that in your own life, oh, well, I don't blame. Pay attention to how many times you use they or he or it or you or them or people, some ambiguous term to describe something or someone other than you. There's blame in that statement. And Superficially, it may look like you may try, if you try to defend it, 100% it's blame then. Because the truth doesn't need defending. It can stand on its own. And if there's nothing to say, that's even better, because that silence is always truth. Okay, I'm going to brush my teeth. See ya.